go to the question, you've talked previously about planning and thinking through the things that could go wrong during a race. Can you give some examples of the sorts of things that you think about that could go wrong and what your planning is? Is it simply visualization, or do you practice, do you push yourself beyond, do you go over distance to feel what it feels like?
In training, do we go over the Ironman distance? Yeah. No. That was something I actually skimmed over. I perhaps should have addressed it. Yeah, pre-race visualization is very important for me. In terms of anticipating problems, like punctures, like your goggles getting knocked off in the swim, like not having your special needs bag when you need it. So yeah, and also developing a strategy mentally, physically to deal with those so that you're as prepared as you can be. I draw heavily on previous experiences. You know, I've had 2 punctures in the past in races, one in Ironman Korea and then Alpe d'Huez last year, and both times I was able to deal with it and come back to win. So you can draw a lot from early experiences and draw a lot of confidence from early experiences. So I do that, and while I was at the side of the road trying to get the bloody tyre off, that's what I was thinking, you know, it's not the end of the race, you've been here before, it's not the end of the race. So I just had that confidence from the earlier experiences, and I think that's incredibly important. Like I said, you can't fear pain in a race, especially in an Ironman race. You've got to expect it, so when it hits, it's not necessarily a negative thing, and you've got to keep your mind strong. In terms of training, the longest ride I do is 4.5 hours. The longest run I personally do is 2 hours. Others do more. Hilary and Bella, for example, will do more volume in terms of the run. I don't need to. Shorter, sharper work is a lot more beneficial to me in running a fast marathon. Steady riding, there's no benefit to going 7.
How far would you get in that time?
In Switzerland, you might not get that far. You might do, 90k in 4 hours because it's really hilly. So again, you can't focus solely on data. If I'm told to do a 4-hour steady ride, then I know what kind of steady feels like. So it's very rare that Brett will say go out and do 100k.
Yeah.
He'll say go out and do 4 hours steady.
I was just interested to see how far you personally would go in that sort of time.
Yeah, we do have a ride. I'll do a 4-hour ride with a 3-hour time trial. So half an hour warm up, 3-hour time trial, bam bam, and then a 30-minute cool down. In that 3 hours, I'll be looking to ride at race pace. I'll be looking to go at 36k an hour average for that 3 hours. And that's my race pace, and that's how I dial that in. But I don't do that every week. I have 20k time trials where I'll look to go 40k an hour pace. So, it varies. But yeah, in answer to your question, no, we don't go over distance. But I did do 100s in the swimming pool for Hilary's birthday. It was her idea of a birthday present for herself.
And have you swum without goggles to replicate your goggles being lost?
Yeah, we do sometimes. Right. Yeah. But in training, you can just move them around. We don't do it, but you can just move. Yeah, move them around. Yeah.
Intrigued. I've thought about it, but never actually gone to doing it.
Yeah.
Far too much Edmund.
So after the puncture, did you work harder to catch up, or do you stay at race pace and hope for the best?
I didn't overexert myself. I think the benefit for me of having the puncture, normally I'm a strong climber and a pretty poor descender, and I'm quite nervous descender. In Hawaii, the descent is not steep; it's pretty gradual. But the problem is there's side winds, so they're really lost. I was off the road for 10.5 minutes, but I lost the time, maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes to the girls. That put a rocket up my arse, and I think any nervousness that I might have had kind of dissipated. So I think I gained a lot of time on the descent that wasn't physically demanding, but I probably wouldn't have got that advantage had I not had the puncture. So I went very fast, where I probably would have been more nervous. And then there was at the bottom of the descent, there's a drag, a 3K drag, and that's where I guess I come into my own, because I just get the gear, power up, and yeah, that's what really when I went into the lead. But I didn't really feel like I was overexerting myself at all. And
But if it had been flat, would you have had to push harder?
Pardon?
If it had been flat, would you have had to work extra and sort of go over what you would comfortably be sat at?
If
you hadn't had those advantages, it would have been just a flat course, say. Because the temptation after a disaster like that is to just go mad and you blow up.
It is. I mean, I could. I don't know how to say this without sounding arrogant. I was riding at Hawaii. I was riding faster from the outset than any of the other girls. So I only had to carry on at that pace to get the lead back. Because when I had the puncture, I had 6 minutes. So I was already riding a lot faster. So I could just carry on at that speed, and that speed was very comfortable for me. So I don't think I pushed any harder, having had that flat. And luckily I managed to make up time, and I often feel stronger at the end of the latter stages of the ride relative to the other girls. So I think I was able to make up a lot of time again in the latter stages.
One more.
Going into the race, I know you talked a lot about training by the feel. And going into the race, how much of the race tactics is there? I know I've listened to Crowe after the win this year, and he said that, you know, having raced last year, he knew exactly the run where he can go for it, where he should back off. Do you think like that, or do you just?
No. Every athlete's different. Some do have tactics. I think because my tactic was to go as hard as I could at the start of the swim to get me in a good position, get me in a good pack, so that I could get the time I wanted. And then as soon as I was on the bike, go as hard as I can for as long as I can. And it's the same on the run. That's pretty much it. If I'm running faster, then it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing behind me. The issue comes if you're running neck to neck with someone, or someone's in front. Then tactics start to play. You know, when do I go? When do I not? You know, up until 30k into the race, you just got to go your own pace and have confidence in yourself, and that your body will hold out. So my strategy is very simple. It's just you know, go as hard as I can for as long as I can. You know, makes it easier. I don't have to give it too much to think about. The other strategic thing, the most important strategic thing, is obviously the nutrition. And that's the key. That's my race strategy. Is you know, the nutritional strategy is just as important as having a race strategy. And then one other thing I would say is that the race for us as professionals begins way before the gun goes off. It's all about the races that you've done before, the confidence that you've gained, the mind games that you can play with, you know, with different athletes, and that's all part of the preparation and the strategy for, you know, for a race. So yeah, the race strategy isn't necessarily only for the races.
Sorry, one last bit. Did you notice the difference? But I remember the year before, you'd said that all that had gone straight over your head because you hadn't been around in the village and nobody knew of you. You weren't on the radar. Did you notice a difference this year? Because you must have definitely been on everybody's radars this
I
year.
got absolutely bloody mobbed everywhere I went. It was like being Victoria Beckham for a week. Like pouting and stuff. Yeah. No, it was completely different. Completely different. A whole world away. But whereas the anonymity last year worked to my benefit, this year, for me, the added pressure and the attention worked to my benefit. I just use whatever situation I have to, I guess, to my advantage. You know, I did have to stay away from the crowds a lot, and when I wasn't training, rest. But when like I said, when I was feeling a bit nervous, I would go to that swim start and meet people, talk to people, and I enjoy doing that, and that gives me a boost, and I enjoy giving something back. It distracts me a little bit. So, you know, I did use the added attention that I got to my advantage. And obviously, I've got to see those additional obligations as part and parcel of being a pro. If I want sponsors to sponsor me, I've got to be the best advertisement that I can for them, and that means getting out there, you know, meeting people, being friendly, and that's what being a pro is all about. It's not just about swim, bike and run, do the job, go home. It's about being on the finish line, giving something back to the sport, showing how much you love it, giving something to the age groupers that in the end of the day pay my salary because they're paying their, you know, their entrance fees and attracting sponsors to the sport. And that's what it's all about. It's about me trying to get into the Observer how I got my body and all that. Do you know what I mean? It really is. So I can't see it as an obligation or as a chore. Yeah, sometimes it's draining, but it's part and parcel, and you manage it just like you manage everything else.
Is it that common for the pros to wait around until the end?
Chloe was there, Maka was there last year.
Not the next time you did.
In other Ironmans, it's not as common. No, I mean, I'd love it if the top 5 finishers in the women and the men came down. Unfortunately, they don't. It's not necessarily a priority.
I have to step in there. Chrissie didn't leave the finish. The moment she crossed the finish, she was with her parents. The only time she left the finish
Drug's test
was
and
for the
press
drug test.
conference.
Drug test and a very quick press conference. Then she was back. And it took us, we couldn't even get a bottle, it took us ages to even get a bottle of water to her because she was so worried about the drugs test. So we had to get a sealed bottle of water to her. And that was after doing 9 hours 10. And so I have to take a hat off to her. Every single athlete that crossed over that line right up until the 70-hour mark, which was 12 o'clock at night.
But I mean, I don't know if any of you have been to Hawaii, but it's absolutely amazing. It's a really inspirational place to be, and I get as much out of it as I hopefully give to people by being there. And it's a little thing that doesn't take a lot from me to put a medal around someone's neck, but I know how much it means to other people. I mean, I appreciate now more than ever what I've achieved. I don't think I did before, and I certainly do now. And although I'm not necessarily comfortable with being seen as a celebrity or whatever, I do appreciate that I can touch lives and that I have an opportunity to do so. So being on the finish line is just part and parcel of the race. For me, you can rest later. You know, my job's done, and I get out there and give something back to everyone else that's working so hard.
Can I quickly ask, obviously, Ironman is your focus at the moment, but is there a part of you that thinks it'd be nice to race in London 2012?
For me, Hawaii's our Olympics. You know, winning Hawaii for me is like getting a gold medal at the Olympics, and I wouldn't change it for the world. And if I had to trade, I wouldn't. You know, I'd always choose Hawaii. It's where I got my first crown, and it's the sport and the distance that's given me so much, and also it's where the sport began. Triathlon has only been in the Olympics since 2000. Hawaii's been going now 30 years, and the magnitude of the event is not lost on me. But having said that, the Olympics is an amazing stage. It was fantastic to watch it at Beijing this year, and I would be a fool if I said that I wasn't interested in trying to trying to participate in it. Having said that, short course racing is almost a different sport. It requires a totally different skill set. I'm not a very good pack rider, and at the moment I'm not a fast enough runner. Could I acquire those skills? I'd do my hardest to try. I think I have the capacity to get there, or to at least be in the running to get there. something that I've discussed with Brett and something that I will, or have already actually discussed with Cliff. Yes, it is a possibility, and yes, if we think that I can make it, yes, I would love to go for it. And if not triathlon, then perhaps road cycling or time trialling. But to be quite honest, the time trial is so short, I don't think I'll be any good. But you know, really, it's 4 years off. The Olympics is a fantastic stage. If I did have the opportunity, yeah, of course, I would be so proud to be able to wear a British vest at the London Olympics. It would be, you know, that would be a dream come true. But my focus at the moment and in the years to come is definitely going to still be Hawaii.
Perhaps I might make an Olympic sport from that pressure. 1 year. 2012 will be a good one. Pressure from the public. Sports, aren't they? Just not
We
one
have that
sport.
hope.
Okay.
Give more chance of getting mud wrestling in there, I think. I'd do that.
I'll feel it. Right. Well, we're finished for tonight. We've got done the questions. You're going to do some signings.
Yeah, if you've got any other questions, that's my website. There is an area on there where you can ask me. I do try and respond to most of the kind of queries that I receive. So
If you want to ask any questions with regards to injuries and training, I mean, I know Chrissie says she's not been injured, but we've spent the last year talking on a regular basis about stopping injuries and making sure that she stays in tip-top condition. And one of the things I can say for me, it's been a pleasure to work with Chrissie because she's one of the few triathletes that actually listens to me. Triathletes have a tendency to want to push themselves. I must do my 20-mile run this week. I must do this. I don't care. I don't care for a little bit of shin pain. You know, Chrissie, we managed to work through everything, haven't we? All the little niggles and
well,
things
not many
that
people
happen to-
know, but everyone will know because that camera's going. But in the week before Hawaii, I was actually not. I wasn't doing a lot of running because I had a pain in my ankle, and I was really grateful to Mark, and he was actually there and got me on that start line, which is fantastic, with some acupuncture needles and some good massage. So I am really grateful